good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whenever you're listening to this. This is Knights of the Round Table. I'm Camar, your host, and this is all about Allen. This is Miss Allen. She is literally the first person that I saw at Central. Kid you not. She was my first period in my freshman year. And I will never forget being lost for 10 minutes, being late for about 15 the first day of this school. So yeah, that is Miss Allen. Say hi.
Wait, you getting lost is how you're going to introduce me?
Well,
I mean, is that my fault? Is that my fault?
No.
Okay.
See, this is our dynamic, guys.
Quite literally.
Yeah. So, Miss Allen, what do you teach?
Ninth grade language arts.
And how long have you been teaching?
15 years.
15 years. I feel like every guest that I host has been teaching for about over 10 years, every guest that I have. And I love that because it's like a tapestry of all the students that they've had before, all their experiences. So all the 15 years that you've been teaching, have you been teaching here?
I've been here for 11 of the 15.
And what school were you at before?
Alcovey High School in Newton County.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
They were black and gold and we're black and gold, so it was cool. I didn't really have to change clothes at all.
That's meant to be. Okay, so I just want to get into this before we actually get into this by saying, if you can't tell by my voice, I'm a little under the weather. And Miss Allen, when we met up this morning, I hugged her before I told her, and now she's feeling a little sniffly. So
it's probably psychological, let's be honest.
Yeah, but I just want to say that if me or her sneeze, cough, whatever during this, it isn't from me. Anyways, so.
You just caught to it being from you, so that was contradictory.
Anyways, so let's get into our questions. So, what were your interests as a child? Just let's hear your backstory. Because I know some of it already, but, especially you can get into what you want to get into, of course. Yeah. But knowing your backstory, how did you get into being a teacher?
Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, most kids at this school know me, so they know this. But I grew up in Athens. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I'm the shortest of 6 kids. So that's fun. And I've liked kids my whole life. So I was that kid who and I don't know if it's just because I was the oldest, but I can't remember a time where I didn't like being around kids. So even when I was little, one of my oldest friends, I just saw her the other day, when she came into town for the first time, I walked right up to her in Sunday school and I was like, hey, you need a friend. And I was 4. And so I've always been like that where I don't know, I like people. And so I had fake classes growing up. I made my siblings be my students and they did not like that. I found this out when they got older. Wow. And so teaching just kind of came naturally because I enjoy being around people, so.
Okay. Now, like you said, you're a language arts teacher, and I know in the past, you're UGA alumni, right? Mm-hmm. And in the past, you did theater, and I know from taking your class, you like to incorporate that a lot into your teaching, especially when we're going over, Greek things, Greek literatures, whatever. You like to have us act out as a play or whatever. So your time in theater, from what ages did you do that?
I don't even remember. So I was kind of a mixed bag growing up where I loved, my parents were coaches. I was at sporting events all the time. I played softball. And then I also liked theater. I liked music. So I liked kind of split things. And so as a kid, I was homeschooled for a while, and then I went to school starting in 4th grade. And so then I would do before then I would do plays and stuff at church, but then I would start doing school stuff then as well. So I don't know. I kind of want to be a film director at one point in my life. So while playing sports. So it's kind of just split where I liked a lot of things. And so I just tried to do all of those things at once.
Period. Because I know one thing, if you're at a Central game, you're going to see Miss Allen.
Yeah.
Period. She's either going to be on the floor at a basketball game, she's going to be somewhere near the field on a football game, you're going to see her. So when you're teaching language arts, I feel, especially as a core class, because my last guest, I had Mr. Sneed on here. He was a music teacher. He's a piano teacher. So we talked about how all the things that he teaches, he likes to incorporate like real world things. So you incorporating your love and interest of theater into language arts, I feel like that's like really powerful, because a lot of students, especially like, because of course you taught Sota, but you also teach like regular Central kids too who don't really have an interest in theater or anything like that. So you introducing that to them, especially like when my year, we did Much Ado About Nothing, which my video's still iconic, by the way. But
it won awards, didn't it?
It did. I definitely got Best Supporting Actor, but anyways, but getting that into their atmosphere or whatever you want to call it, into their area, I feel like that's like really powerful. And so I thank you for that. Because especially like my freshman year, I was like one of those people who were like, theater, like, I'm music tech. Like, but I feel like you, especially like introducing that to me, brought me out like, okay, maybe I could. And that introduced me to like doing tech for theater. Because before that, I would be like, what am I doing like theater? Like, what would I even be for real? But okay, so your career now, language arts, is this the career that you've always been doing as an adult?
Yes, I'll say as an adult. So like before I was a teacher, my only job growing up was babysitting, and I was a camp counselor. So like my whole life has been around people. And so I knew I wanted to be a teacher, but I didn't know like what I wanted to do, because math was actually my best subject. But I was doing costumes for a play in high school, and my piano teacher, ironically enough, was helping me out. And she was like, is this something you would want to do? And I was like, I really like it. And she was like, well, it's kind of hard to get a theater job. So have you thought about English? And that night I went home and I looked up all the English ed programs. And so that's kind of how I jumped into teaching language arts.
See, it always comes back to Nights at the Round Table, y'all. Lock in. But so you said your piano teacher was helping you with that costume thing for that play. And they told you, like, maybe not this, but this instead. Would you say they were right?
Oh, yeah. And for me, integrating theater is not because I like it. Because again, like I would be just as comfortable teaching statistics in Algebra 2. But for me, teaching is all about people and relationships. Like I want you to leave my room. I mean, if you don't like me, it is what it is. I don't want you to care about English when you leave. I want you to know that you had a place where someone saw you for who you are, who loved you for who you are, and sees your potential. And so incorporating like kind of like more physical things, like going around like doing plays and whatnot, it's a way for people to get to know each other. And it's also a way for you to kind of like get out of your shell a little bit, because as adults, like we interact with other adults all the time. And so you have to have good people skills. Definitely. And so it was a way for me to get y'all, no matter if theater's your thing or not, to really learn how to work with people you maybe not you might not have worked with otherwise.
Especially, oh my God, preach on that, speaking skills part, because especially my generation, I feel like a lot of us, we don't have, since we're the first generation to be glued to iPads, you know what I mean? So I feel like, especially at this age, it shows. Yeah. And so growing up, and a lot of people, like what you're saying, like the people skills, they don't really care enough nowadays because they're too busy doing this, doing that. So a lot of people don't help their kids develop that. Like a lot of kids that I know, their parents weren't there for them to, read to them every night, do this, do that, and the third. So I feel like you taking initiative in doing that is very noble, very noble.
Thanks.
But also talking about nobility and helping, you are the head of Key Club here. I'm a part of Key Club, y'all. If you're not a part of Key Club, join Key Club.
You should. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. But so how long have you been the head of Key Club here?
I honestly don't remember.
Really?
So it's Key Club. I'm very serious. So Key Club is the oldest club in Gwinnett, and Central is the oldest school in Gwinnett. Like the men who sponsor us went to Central in the 60s. Yeah. And Key Club was established when I first got here. There was a different sponsor, and I actually taught journalism for a while here. And I had a bunch of kids who like community service like I do,
Right.
because I talk all the time like the world is bigger than just us, and like we can do so many things because a lot of people are hurting and they're not going to tell you to their face, and that's why like again like I love people, and for me teaching is about again like having a relationship with you after you leave,
Right.
and so I had a group of kids who taught newspaper with me who saw that I did community service stuff and like, you want to do that? I was like, yeah. And so we would do like Gwinnett Great Days of Service. We would build like we've painted houses. We did Habitat for Humanity. And so then when the Key Club sponsor left, Mr. Orr was like, hey, you're already kind of doing this unofficially. You kind of want to come in. I was like,
Right.
sure. And I love Mr. Orr, so I'm not going to really tell him no. So I was like, yeah, not really knowing what it was.
I mean, also, not to cut you off, but
You're fine.
we're talking about Key Club, but for the viewers who don't know what that is or who don't go to, a school in Gwinnett or anything, what is Key Club?
So Key Club is a servant leadership club where our service is the key to leadership. So it's not something you join if you want like a cord or a medal. It's a club where we really just get to serve other people. And so it's very much centered on helping the community. So in the fall, we have 2 major events where we just finished Safe Trick or Treat, and now I'm in our foster care event where up over 100 kids in the foster service around here. I can't talk. I get paid to teach English, and I can't talk today. I don't know why. But kids in foster care in this area will come the Saturday we get back from Thanksgiving, and I've lined up sponsors for all of them who are buying them all these gifts, and we'll do different games and all these things. And then in the spring, we do a lot of like community cleanup events. So it's really, Key Club is just really for people who want to serve other people.
And that's great. And like I said, I'm in it, and I worked the Safe Trick or Treat event this year, and it was so amazing. Just like seeing all the kids, their faces lighting up. We're playing games with them for them to get candy and all that. It was great. So like I said, we were low-key kikiing a little bit earlier, but really, if you want to commit acts of service, stuff like that, join a Key Club near you. Like, it's really good. But also, like you said earlier, there's also another side of you. You like to do sports. So you've been a coach here before?
No, so I coached at my previous school, and here I do, I would keep the gate for football games, and then I do the scorebook for the girls and boys basketball teams. And I started doing that because when I first came to Central, 12 years ago, I was in grad school, and I did not want to coach anymore, but I taught the entire JV boys basketball team. And so I told the coach, I was like, hey, I teach all of them. If you need help, let me know. And he knew me from coaching, so he was like, hey, you want to do this? And so it's a way for me to help them out and go support them. And they're both teams, by the way, are doing really good right now.
They are.
We play that school down the street on Friday, December 6th. You should come.
Definitely could.
But yeah, I love sports. My mom was a basketball coach. My dad was a basketball coach. All my siblings played sports. So it's a way to especially if you have a hot temper or if you get bored easily, it's a way to get all of that out.
Yes, very hyperactive kids. A lot of my cousins definitely, they were hyperactive before, and then they joined football, basketball, or I joined soccer when I was younger, and it definitely helped me a lot to, channel out frustrations or channel out just extra energy in general. So, yeah. Now, like I said earlier, you have been a Sota teacher. Y'all, freshman year was a time. Freshman year was a
That's
time.
word.
Freshman year was a time. Our class, like I said, I had her first period. So if you walked in our class first period, you would have never known it was a first period. Let's just say that. A lot of energy. But
Understatement of the century.
yeah. So
A lot of energy.
How did you figure out, did they tell you, did they just assign you, oh, you're going to be a Sota teacher? Or did you, how did that even happen?
Oh my gosh, that was the cool, oh my gosh. I have so many good memories from that year. So I had just won Teacher of the Year, and my AP came over and was like, hey, so you're going to move rooms again? And I was like, what? like, I thought, like, I wasn't trying to win Teacher of the Year. It just happened. And so I was like, I thought that kind of meant I didn't have to move.
Right.
And she was like, well, we're opening the School of the Arts. And I like kind of like leaned over the table and she was like, and we want to know. And I was like, if you want to teach those classes, and I freaked out because I naturally integrated anyway.
Right.
And I had so many kids here that were so into the arts. And so when I found out we were opening it and they wanted me to teach those classes, I freaked out.
Yeah.
And like one of my favorite, if y'all know who Aubrey Dunbar is, I taught him his freshman year
Aubrey.
before Sota opened. And I never met him in person because I had him digitally because it was COVID. And he told me, he's like, oh, I got into Sota. And so the first time we met in person was at the thing on the Lawrenceville lawn.
Oh, I was there.
When it opened and they introduced all the teachers. And like, that's a core memory for me because I loved him. And so when we met for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, it's you. And like seeing like him get to like showcase stuff that he was so passionate about. And like all these kids that I already knew loved the arts, be able to do it. Like I was ecstatic. Like I think this is the best thing ever.
Yeah. That class was so fun. You did such a good job.
Oh,
you are doing such a good job.
I didn't pay him to say that.
She didn't. She knows I would never say that about most people. But anyways, no shade. But
it's Camar. It's a lot of shade.
Anyways, so you did such a good job with that class. Because like I said, it was first period. And, most first periods, you're just in there, tired, still trying to wake up. Her class used to be so fun, y'all. Especially at the end of the year.
Oh, my gosh.
It was a mess. It was a mess. We would be so loud. Other teachers would have to, like, bang on the walls next to us to quiet us down.
If my family's watching this, it was a productive mess, I promise.
It was very productive, very productive.
We were doing Romeo and Juliet, so it was slightly energetic.
It was fun. And then we also had, like, an award show. It was great. And then, especially because my second period was right next to your class, and we didn't really have a teacher. And it was even more. It was a mess. But, with, like I said, you incorporated a lot of theater in that class because there was a lot of theater kids in that class. And that class, it was just like, what was your, like, how do I say this? What is your, like, what were your ideas when going into that class? Like, once you find out, okay, like, I'm on the plan for these kids, what were your, like, ideas? Like, okay, so I should incorporate this, I should incorporate that, I should do this, Or did nothing change? I
mean, I already taught like that anyway, so it was not stressful for me at all. The only thing that I started thinking, because my big thing is choice and options. Because, I've taught for 15 years, most of those years being with freshmen, and no year has been the same, not a single one. And the kids change. So, I just had my 5th period class. My 7th period that comes in, even though it's freshmen, is going to feel different because it's different kids. And so I kind of tailor things differently depending on who's in the room. And so, I've already naturally done theater stuff and had art options. But I think, especially with Sota, I started adding more musical options as well because I had not had as many kids vocally talk about their love of music until then. And so it wasn't really a lot new, but it was more of I had more options available. And also, I plan way ahead of, I have my calendars. And so I would plan when the spring musical was coming up, SpongeBob. Oh my gosh, so good.
Amazing.
So when I knew people would have major rehearsals for different things, I was more flexible about you can still show me mastery, but you have rehearsal this week, give it to me next week. So
Yeah, very flexible. I remember that because especially in our downtimes, if a lot of people weren't there for that class because of whatever reason, they had audition here, you would still try and tailor it enough so that they could try and get it at least during their downtime. Or if not, they still had enough time when they came back to do it, which was amazing. Especially because, as a music tech student, we didn't really have a lot to, especially that first year, we weren't doing that much, that we would have to miss class or whatever for, but that extra time, it really helped me out a lot. And so yeah, that first year, man, that was crazy year. But like I said, now, because that room was in the 200 hall, you were room 200, I believe.
201,
201. So now you're in the big 8309.
Yep, I love it.
Yeah, big window, y'all. Big window. You can see the field. It's beautiful.
It's so pretty.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that room? Because
I'm so happy. So I had been on the third floor for a long time here. And then when we moved to the 200 hall, it was because all the Sota classes were in the morning. And so they put all of us in the same area. And so I didn't like not having windows, but I love all the memories we made in that room.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so like the class of 2025, like I taught most of them sophomore year too. So like I when I go on that hallway, I think of them. But now it's like a different stage where I co-lead ninth grade now, which is phenomenal, which is my favorite. I like ninth grade because I get to watch y'all grow up. Case in point, like I've watched you grow up. Like that's.
And I'm leaving.
Okay, you really didn't need to say that.
Sorry.
You know how I feel about that.
Sorry.
But I feel like there's different seasons, and I'm definitely in a different season of my life anyway. And so it felt like it was time, and I'm thrilled. I love it up there.
And speaking of different seasons,
Oh my God, here we go.
See how I did that? See how I did that? Yeah. So, what are you thinking about for your future as an educator?
Oh, they're gonna talk about the seniors. I was like, please don't talk about them right
should
now.
I can't.
No, not right now. I can't handle it. My future as an educator. I feel like I'm in it right now where I really wanted to help lead ninth grade. It's something I've been passionate about for a really long time. Because I just, again, like, I mean, I like all grades. I've taught all grades in high school, but ninth grade matters the most to me because, like, you really get to see them grow up and you build more sustained relationships with them, their families. Like, I've had weddings, baby showers, funerals of students that I had as freshmen, and, like, you see that kind of progression, which is special to me. I can't imagine doing anything else. If I was ever an administrator, I would only want to be a ninth grade administrator. But that's not something I'm looking at right now, especially since Mr. Dunlap's on our team, Mr. Jackson, and like they're really Miss Cuevas, and they're really special people. And so I feel like God's like, hey, this is where you're supposed to be. So
I love that.
I really like it.
That was going to be my next question was like, are you ever thinking of like moving up to be like an AP and admin?
Yeah, I would want to be in charge of ninth grade, but I'm not looking for that anytime soon. So.
Okay. So you brought it up first, seniors.
Oh, yeah.
So, like I said, you've been teaching for 15 years. And like you said, you've seen, baby showers, weddings, funerals. So is there anything, as we close it out, this video out, is there anything, a message to, the upcoming seniors? You see what I did?
The rising seniors?
Yeah, the rising and, just your past seniors, just a message for them like, hey, I love you, da-da-da-da.
Those classes
don't get emotional.
That's all. Okay.
Don't.
It's going to happen. It's like, that's how I show love. It's literally going to happen. Like when you feel like you just have so much love, it kind of overflows in different ways. So that's for me. And so you telling me not to, it's going to make it worse.
Because I'm going to get emotional too.
So the junior class right now and the senior class are very different. The junior class, they are like, the energy's insane. Oh, do you have enough time for me to tell you a story about the junior class?
Make it a little. Okay.
So they're my little pranksters. They're the ones that give me the energy I give back, like immediately. So there's like this rumor going around that I don't like Drake. Maybe because he's overrated. I don't know where that came from. So I had to use the restroom. I got another teacher to stand in my doorway.
I remember this.
I was gone for less than a minute. Okay, this was in, late August?
Yes.
So I had known these kids for like 3 weeks. This is the class with Alex, Tatiana, like a bunch of theater kids that I adore. So I go to the bathroom, come back after less than a minute. There are over 100 pictures of Drake, color pictures, with Drake wearing a witch's hat on my desk, in my desk, under my desk, in the ceiling tiles, behind all my pictures on the wall. My clock was on the floor because they tried to put him on the clock and it fell. In my lamp, when I moved classrooms, I found more that I had not found.
That's insane.
They had to have coordinated it for so long. And so that's like, when I think of the junior class, that's who I think of. Like they're really special. They're so charismatic and like, it's like they're little grownups. Like they already kind of knew. And so just for my message for them is just keep that same energy. Like I love them. The senior class, oh geez. Okay, here we go. The senior class, like we went through a lot together.
We definitely did.
Like you y'all were the first group where you had to, most of you didn't go to middle schools in this cluster. So, a lot of kids came in as freshmen knowing nobody, absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
And from different areas. And so, if you're not from Lawrenceville and you don't know how Lawrenceville works, that's a culture shock in itself. It is with anything. I came from Athens, so it was for me too.
Yeah.
And then, we lost some of your classmates that year.
Rest in peace, Vanessa.
Yeah. And so it was, we went through a lot together. And so I feel like I get so emotional thinking about y'all because y'all overcame so much and you did it and you care so deeply about each other and y'all are ride or die for each other all the time. And there's a sign I have above my door that says, never forget you matter. And I think about y'all all the time when I see that because even when we were going through so much trauma, y'all still never forgot who you were and you never forgot who your friends were. And when we lost Vanessa, y'all showed up for each other and grieved someone she was just a beautiful soul. She was so special. And y'all showed up and took care of each other. You took care of me. And my message for y'all is, first of all, and you'll know this, but it's that I love you and I always will. I'm so proud of y'all. Stop, Camar. I'm so proud of y'all. You knew it was going to happen. Look, I went to the one act play, Region Champs again.
Hey.
They go to state tomorrow. So proud of them. It's tomorrow in Forsyth County. It's 2 hours away.
Ew. Sorry.
But I went to watch that because any performance I will go to. And there was this table with all the senior pictures, and I couldn't even make it.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
I couldn't even make it in the theater. I was crying so hard. But it was for me, it's if you can make a teacher who's known you for 4 years, I'm very connected to y'all, but if you can make me care so much about y'all, just think about the impact you're going to make on other people. And so don't hide. The way that y'all, again, the way y'all have really just shown lights in general, just keep that going. There's a sign on the front of my door that says, never dim the light that shines from within. And I feel that's, when I think of the senior class, that's what I think of, is just a bunch of lights that, you make everyone else better. So just continue that because, life is going to continue to get hard. Being an adult is not that fun. It's super overrated.
Yeah. I'm already seeing.
Bills?
Been knowing.
Bills? What? But it's just, through all of that, just continue being the special, almost adults that you were.
Okay.
Gross.
Okay. That's enough of that. Because I don't want to cry on here.
I did so good.
You did. You held it really well.
I can't make any promises for any other senior events, but
okay. Yeah.
I tried just now.
Okay. So I want to thank you so much for coming on here because I knew you'd be a really good guest, especially if I was hosting, But I just want to thank you. And, do you have anything coming through the pipeline other than the Christmas Child?
That's the biggest thing right now. And so once that's finished, then we get to go to all the different showcases, all the different end of the year events that Sota has. And then there's a lot of basketball games. And so then obviously too, spending time with family.
Right.
That's
of course.
what I'm most excited about.
Well, all right, Miss Allen. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for inviting me. This was cool.
And thank our viewers. Thank you guys for watching the Knights of the Round Table. Have a good day.